recording. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whoever and wherever you are. This is Lee, and we're on the game of tongues where we work on speech anxiety in all its gross forms. And right now, we're talking with HRISTO. Say hello, HRISTO.
Hello.
I want you to say it like you mean it. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Look, one way we beat stuttering is to be enthusiastic about what we have to say. Enthusiasm is a crutch. It's also a way to be a better speaker. A lot of the crutches will also help you be a better speaker, forgetting about stuttering. Extreme pronunciation, speaking softly, slowly, being enthusiastic, smiling, using full stops. All these things make you not just not stutter, they make you a better speaker than you would otherwise have ever been had you never stuttered. Stuttering can be converted into a blessing. We do it all the time. The methods that you use to beat stuttering will enable you to mitigate or reduce or beat boredom, depression, anger, anxiety, greed, jealousy, sloth, laziness, insomnia, you name it. All the demons that attack us all. You can manage and convert many of those into positive elements in your life by mind training, which is one of our the three-legged stool: hearing fluency, using crutches, and mind training. Those things in combination, one, two, three, and you win. It's a great, you might be able to win by simply reading aloud if you did it enough. You could well be able to beat it by simply mind training if you did it well enough and enough. And you could simply beat it with the crutches if you know them well enough and use them well enough. But when you take them in combination, it makes a devastating 1, 2, 3 punch. So we have two objectives. I say there's no, we have three objectives, three goals. But what are the two things that I say in my book? Have you read my book?
Yes.
Okay.
Twice.
What are the two things that it says in my book that you've got to do to stop stuttering? What are those two things?
To hear fluency and not hear disfluency.
You'd be surprised how few people can answer that question correctly after reading the book. Go to the head of the class. Bravo. You get an A. That's terrific. Check mark, star, trophy, and start congratulating yourself for everything you do well. Because one of the problems with stutterers have is they look down on themselves too much. Everybody has inferiority complexes. The richest, most famous, most beautiful people still have inferiority complexes. I've known many of them. I used to have a house in Aspen. I knew a lot of the stars and all that kind of stuff. They all have their problems too. Everybody has problems. It's just at a different scale. So stutterers are worried way too much about what other people think. Stop it. There's only one opinion of you on this planet that really matters. Your opinion of you. And you say, "Oh, I know that's my problem. I know I'm inferior at this, I'm inferior at that, and I have bad thoughts about this and bad thoughts." I know that. Everybody does. As a psychiatrist once told me, you've never had a thought that 99% of the people your age, from your culture and your gender, haven't had. Think of that, Christo. You've never had a thought that 99% of the guys from your generation, your gender, your culture haven't already had. So don't be thinking you're so terrible because you've had some terrible thoughts. As a psychiatrist also said to me, it doesn't really matter. It's not the thought that's the problem. It's when you verbalize it or act on it that it becomes a negative force. Until then, it's just a germ. It's trying to grow in your brain. And you can take it out. You can remove it. I don't care what it is. A negative thought about some person or about yourself or about your speech or about you're not tall enough or you're too skinny or you're too heavy or you're not fast enough or whatever you think. You can replace all of those thoughts. The most important words in this book are not mine. They are in the dedication to you, the reader. And what does it say? It says, we have free choice to accept or reject thoughts. Nothing compels us to think anything except our own desires. So use your mental switch, and dictate your thoughts. Dictate your thoughts. Believe that you can improve, and you will. Those are the most important words in the book. And do those words make sense to you? Do they
Yes,
make sense?
of course.
If you will embrace those words, you're going to beat stuttering and you're going to beat a whole bunch of other demons. I say to my grandchildren, and I have grandchildren your age and younger and older, and I say to them, you and I and all of us are train wrecks waiting to happen. Oh no, that's a terrible thing to say, but it's true. Why is it true? Because most of us don't do anything to control our thoughts. We let the environment, meaning everybody around us, and people who aren't around us, whose thoughts are in the atmosphere coming into us, and the newspapers, and the TV, and all the stuff out there, the environment itself, the weather, we allow everything to control what we think, and we don't do a thing about it. And the analogy is, I say to my grandchildren, what you do is like this. You go down to your car in the morning, you start it, you go out into the traffic, 100+ miles an hour, as fast as you can go, cars flying all around at higher and lower speeds. You get right in the middle of them all, going so fast, you let go of the steering wheel, and you say, I hope it works out. Do you really think it's going to work out if you don't hold on to the steering wheel? Really? If you want to hold on to the steering wheel, you got to do mind training every single day. Minimum 20 minutes, preferably. I used to do 3 sessions a day before bed when I got up and one during the day. 20 minutes, almost to the minute or second, every session. Did it for years. Still do 1 session a day, sometimes 2. Am I perfect? Of course not. Have I solved all my problems? Of course not. Have I made myself a 10 times better person and 100 times happier person? Oh, yes, I have. Did I make stuttering into a blessing? Oh, yes, I did. We have 3 objectives. Stop stuttering. Not just most stuttering, all stuttering. Now, we don't make a mess. We, like I'm talking right now. We don't worry about doing what I'm doing right now, because that's not showing a disability in my speech. It's just showing that I'm talking faster than I can think, or thinking faster than I can talk. And speed kills. That's just, we don't pay any attention to those kind of mistakes. We're only concerned with one kind of mistake. We call it a bad incident. When you appear disabled in the eyes of a stranger, in your opinion, a stranger would have thought you appeared disabled. That is a bad incident. Everything less than that, or say, well, I'm not sure, that means it's not a bad incident. You're sure when it's a bad incident. What's your name? Lee. That's a bad incident. Or if, that's a bad incident. Or they say, what's your name? And I go, that's a bad incident. Anything shy of a clear disability is a pass. And every pass you celebrate with a check mark, a star, a trophy, and a pat on the back. Every speech incident that's not bad is a celebration. When you have a bad incident, all you do is you ask yourself when it's over, what could I have done to avoid that incident? You should think of several answers that fast. If you don't, you haven't learned the crutches. When you know the answer, you think of one and you say, okay, next time I'm going to do that differently. Then you dismiss it from your thought. You don't replay it. You don't keep thinking about it. No, 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 no. You want to maintain images. You want all the good incidents you had when you really spoke beautifully and it was just, oh, it was so wonderful. That's the one you replay and replay and replay up here. Replay and replay. Oh yeah, because that's who you are. That's who you can be all the time. There's no reason for stuttering. You cannot stutter unless you think about stuttering. It's impossible. You've got to hesitate, think a word, fear it, and force it. If you simply hesitate and don't think a word, you will not stutter. If you hesitate and think a word, but don't fear it, you will not stutter. If you hesitate, think a word, and even fear it, but don't force it, you will not stutter. You can do all four of these things very quickly because you got a habit, a trained habit. You've allowed to happen. I did the same thing, and it's there. You can't will yourself not to stutter, but you can will yourself to do something else. To stutter or block when I and force my words, I've got to be into it. I've got to commit to it. I have to step off stutterer's cliff. Whoosh. The minute I change my focus and look in the opposite direction toward a solution, a crutch, the minute I look in the opposite direction, I am fluent. Either consciously and or subconsciously, I must commit to stutter every single stutter. To beat it, we must stop. Crutch number 11 says, when you get to stutterer's cliff, stop talking. What's your name? My name is, well, it's Lee. I just used crutch number 4. I put well in front of Lee. What's your name? Lee. I just used crutch number 1. I dropped the first letter, L, said E, but since that E is not my name, Lee is, so I said Lee, and I said the E softly. It's HRISTO, or it's
Yes.
George, Mary, Ob, William. That's crutch number 1. A lot of times I can drop the first letter and I don't need to repeat the word when it's in context. Example, I can drop the erst eder of ost erds in his entens and keep right on talking, and you'll ill understand what I say. I may sound a bit funny, but you'll ill understand me. Isn't that true? Isn't that true?
It is true. I can
Thank you.
understand everything.
I'm just illustrating. I would never ask you to drop the first letter of every word, but in context, you can often do it. No one will know except you. No one will ever know. That's crutch number one. Crutch number two uses synonym, similar word, or phrase. I'm going to church, and church is the problem. I'm going to pray. I'm going to speak with God. Synonym, similar word, or phrase. What's your name? Book a week man is what some people call me. I've written so many reviews on Amazon, but Lee's my name. What's yours? Crutch number three, skip a word or spell it. Well, if if I'm going to have trouble saying Lee, maybe I can say love it. If I can, I'll say love it. Lee's the first name. I skipped Lee and I said something else. And I then threw in, I can always say the feared word if I connect it to any other word I say first. Which takes us to crutch number four, which works all the time, and it's a magic crutch. If I put any word in front of any feared word, it doesn't matter what the word is. Some good ones are well, so, and. What's your name? Well, Lee. So, Lee. And Lee. I'm Lee, I apostrophe M. I'm Lee. Now, say after me. Well, HRISTO.
Well, HRISTO.
So, HRISTO.
So HRISTO.
And HRISTO.
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 Now, you can't have a break. HRISTO.
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 You got to connect it. You can't have any space between the sound. So you can put a word like well, so, and, I'm, or you can put, it could be any word, but those are good ones. Or you can put a sound in front of it. And, Lee, Lee. It'll always work because the sound is provided you don't stop the sound. Oh, no, 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 no. Ali, say that.
With your name
My
or with
name, Ali. Ali, say it.
Ali?
Yeah, always imitate exactly what I do. Because I'm moving the words around for a reason. Lee.
Lee.
Now, I'm going to change the length of the, let's say your last name were Van Z, which is not, but let's just say that it were. Um, so I say, someone says, what's your last name? You go, Van Z.
Van Zien.
Van Z.
Van Zien.
So Van Z.
So Van Zien.
And Van Z.
And Van Zien.
I'm Van Z.
I'm Van Zien.
Is that easy? Is that
Yes.
easy? It will always work. I underscore always. You may not use it. You may go, well, then it won't work. You can't have a break. You got to hold the sound. Now I'm going to illustrate. You can make the sound any length you want. Long, less long, medium, short, shorter, 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 down to where you can't even hear it. So let's illustrate that. HRISTO.
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 See how easy it is?
It's like a
Go
song.
ahead.
It's like a song. Like when you sing something, you basically there is
Exactly.
always a constant sound,
Yes.
so you don't have any kind of interruptions
Exactly.
between words. So there is no fear. I mean, there is no space to fear to kick in
That's
and
right.
not
It's like we
stutter.
said, you got to hesitate, think a word, fear it, and force it. We don't have time to do that. We don't allow the time to do it. Linking words together, crutch number 10, is a variation of crutch number 4. The first 7 crutches addressed individual words that you have to say. Crutches 6 through 12 address ways of speaking. So they address a conversation, not just first feared words. I love first feared words. I mean, they almost killed me in my day when I was your age and younger. They almost killed me, but I love first feared words, and they're easy. They're the easiest thing we can beat. If you know crutches 1 through 8, your days of struggling with the first feared word are over. Period. They're over as soon as you know them and have practiced them enough to know them well enough to use them when you're pressured. All of the pressure that you feel about speaking, if you don't allow yourself to make mistakes by shutting your mouth and starting again using a crutch, if you will do that, very soon you'll be able to say, I know I don't have to, I know ways to avoid any stutter now, but I still worry about it. I still fear it. But the fear, beating stuttering is one subject, fearing it is another. Beating it is harder, beating fear takes longer. So, I mean, I stopped stuttering around age 30, roughly. And I didn't get over the fear till I was almost 40. I didn't stutter in my 30s. Nobody heard me stutter. I didn't stutter. They would all said, Lovett doesn't stutter. But I was working on it still. But the way you get over the fear is proving to yourself enough times that you know how to beat it. And eventually you say, I really do know how to beat it. I'm never going to embarrass myself again by appearing to be speech disabled. I may make some mistakes and even do some repeats or even force a word once in a while. The fact of the matter is I will not appear disabled. Period. I won't permit it. This is a decision you've got to make. I can't make it for you. I can't enforce it. I can't fix your speech. I can tell you what I would do, and I know it would fix my speech if I had your speech, but you're the one who has to do it. You're playing the game. I'm a coach. You're on the field. You got to score the goals. I can't do it for you. Can you do it? Absolutely. There's no real question about it. Can you do it? The question is, will you do it? Are you willing to work at it enough? Do you know the crutches by number?
I'm not sure actually.
Then you
Most
don't.
of them, yes.
You should.
Most of them, yes. But
Absolutely.
actually, as I mailed you, I'm using only 3 of them, and with just 3 of them, I feel like I'm totally fluent.
Wonderful. What 3 are you? Wait a minute. I want to put that down. See, that's the kind of note I
Yes.
have to make. Hold on. Um, so
So first of all, I'm using crutch number 2, which is use a synonym, which is a little bit hard because English is not my native language, and basically I need to extend my vocabulary, but that is actually a good thing because I will improve in life. The
What?
second crutch that, yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, the second crutch that I'm using is change of thought. I think it was
6.
crutch
Yeah.
number 6,
Yeah.
yes. So basically, when I start to speak something and I feel that the fear is coming, I just say something else and continue talking. And that is
Excellent.
really helping me. And the last crutch that I'm using is no crutch at all. And
Ha! I love
basically,
it.
yeah, 13. So basically, it's very easy to me not to think about anything and just speak. And when I'm doing this, I'm totally fluent. Of course, I think about like some ideas or like just a few words that I'm going to say, but I don't start with them, or I'm
Good.
thinking
Good.
about my
Don't
idea.
try not to plan anything you say. If you're writing a speech, that's different than conversation. Try not to plan anything you say.
Yes, I'm doing exactly that. And for the last month and a half, I mean, the improvement is significant. And I'm not sure, like crutches number 2 and 6, I have been using them even before discovering your work, like your book.
Yeah.
But I discovered them on my own just to survive.
Most stutterers discover number 2.
Yes, yes. But basically, crutch number 13 is really the thing that made me realize what is the core issue with
Exactly.
stuttering. And for the past 1 month and a half, I can say with confidence that I like my stuttering is reduced by 95%. And those 5% that I have, they are not some blocks or like repeats. They are normal human errors, so to speak. For example, let's say that I want to say, I want to go to the cinema. So it is like, I want to go to the cinema. That kind of mistakes that I believe that they can happen to anyone.
Well,
But
that's not a mistake, and no one would ever think it is except you.
yeah, of course.
And you
But
got to not judge yourself harshly. Don't do that.
yes.
Go ahead.
And for the past month and a half, I have been reading aloud for at least 1 hour. And I have been trying to read aloud with passion. And I mean, I'm not sure, but I think that this is the thing that really gave me a great improvement.
Of course, you're
Because,
hearing fluency from your lips.
yes, and also crutch number 13 is really the like the second thing that like I now know the reason why I have been stuttering, and it is using my conscious mind to produce speech and to talk, which is like thinking about using your hands when you eat,
Yeah,
like how to use the spoon. So you don't think move your hand a little bit up, or
exactly.
it's so
Precisely.
basically, yeah. So basically, this is the solution, at least for me,
No,
because
this is
as you said, we
wonderful.
are not identical. But for me, reading aloud and crutch number 13 are really doing the job. And
Wh-
of course, I'm doing auto suggestions.
How often and how long?
Yes, so basically, 20 minutes before sleep, and when I sleep, I I put my phone, like I have recorded myself saying my auto suggestions, and when I sleep, I put that recording on so I can listen to it while I am sleeping. And also during the day, I'm also doing idle auto suggestions. And also, I have been trying to do some self hypnosis treatments, especially for me. Like, uh, I have been imagining that I'm introducing myself, for example, when I'm buying coffee in Starbucks or something like that. And the improvement is also huge. I mean, for the last month and a half, I have absolutely no bad incidents. Only the ones that I demonstrated with a double two. But I don't consider this a disability. It's just a mistake. And I actually think that in time, this will also be improved or
This is
yes,
wonderful. What you just said is wonderful. I love it. And I'm thrilled to death to hear it. And I applaud you, give you an a star, a trophy. Really, seriously. Are you done? No, but you're way down the road. We have three objectives. The first one is to prove to ourselves so that you can look in the mirror or say to me or anybody, I can avoid any stutter, anywhere, anytime. That's our
yes,
first goal. And we call that stop. I didn't say we were cured. I won't even debate the word, though I think we are cured, but I don't even want to debate it. I just want to say I'm not going to stutter and I don't. And you're not going to do it either. And you won't. And when you've done that for a month, you owe it to yourself to admit it to yourself, and you owe it to other people who struggle with the same problem you have by posting a success story. If you don't want to use your name or your face, okay, we prefer you use your first name and your face, but if you don't, that's okay too. But we need to post the success story. Number one, it's good for you to post it because it's your way of claiming your own victories instead of denying them. Oh, I just won 10 straight games and I'm going to deny that I won them, or I won't admit that I won them. Nonsense. Admit you won them because you want to win 10 more and another 10 and another 10. You're not quitting now. So, and the second goal, once you've accomplished goal number one, stopping stuttering, then we want you to keep on the program until you can say, I love to speak. It's not just I can speak. It says here, if I can say one word anywhere, anytime, I can say any word anywhere, anytime. We want to say, if I can say one word anywhere, anytime, I can love to say any word anywhere, anytime. And that means you don't care if the audience is two people or 2,000 or 2 million. You don't care. If there's a microphone, a bright light, you don't care. The audience is irrelevant to your ability to speak. And that's a fact. And when you accept it, you're going to be a good speaker everywhere. Not only that, you're going to go from our people go here's our stutterer and here's stuttering. When they stop stuttering, they don't just come down here. They go way past it down over here, and they go from the worst speaker in school to the best speaker or tied for it like that, especially if they master crutch 11. Speak softly. Speak slow, which lowers blood pressure. Speak slowly, which lowers blood pressure. Use extreme pronunciation, which makes sure you're understood, and it also defeats stuttering. Think enthusiastically about everything you have to say. Smile when you do it. Because when you do, you communicate to 30 million cells in your 30 trillion cells in your body. They all get a happy message. You're building happiness inside yourself. You're also projecting it to other people. You become a positive force everywhere you go. And then full stops. every 1 to 7 words. You don't need that for fluency. Many do. I don't think you do. Will it help your speech? Absolutely. Will it elevate you from an average speaker to a superior speaker? Absolutely. Silence is your friend. It allows the listener to reflect on what you say, and they will remember it and believe it even more. So silence is a great tool. Full stops. And you can put them anywhere in any sentence. It does not matter. Just stop and then continue and then stop again and then continue. You can speak forever. Pressure down.
This is
Understanding.
yeah, but this is especially good when you do a presentation.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'm actually doing it. I'm not doing it because of my speech, but to let my audience have some, like, their brain to have some time to really understand what I'm saying and to have a little break for the next sentence or the next topic.
Well,
And also, I forgot to say that I'm also doing the auto suggestions in front of a mirror.
good for you. Good for you. Uh huh. It's interesting. I've been getting quite a few people from Denmark, Norway, Sweden. It's funny. It's like a wave of people coming from that area. Is there some kind of a stuttering group over there in those countries or something that is talking
I
about
don't.
me?
Uh, Basically, I have been involved in some groups in Facebook, but I left them
Yeah,
because they are full with some desperate guys who don't really want to seek help, or
they're
they just,
negative. They're
yeah,
negative, aren't they?
I just left them. I don't care about them
Yeah.
anymore.
How did you find me?
Basically, like in Amazon, I
On
was searching
Amazon.
for
Okay.
some books, yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, and
Okay.
I like that the book is very easy to understand. It is based on logic, and there are no some fancy words inside that we cannot understand. It's very user friendly, basically, and yeah, it's very easy to understand. So I think that I feel like I'm cured only by reading the book. And I wanted this session not really to get a coaching, but just to say thank you and just to prove that.
God bless you. God bless you. I swear to you, because I get a lot of nice emails from people, but very few people do what you've done here. Um, do you think, I had one person, a woman who was in government service in Florida, um, call me and say that she didn't call me. She wrote me an email and she said what you just said. Um, I've done your book and I can't tell you, I'm over the moon and I'm just not stuttering now. And I just want to say thank you. And I wrote her back and I said, would you post a success story? And she said, absolutely. So
Yes,
I said, either the way we do it is I say, you can write a draft and I'll edit it and send it back to you if you're okay. Or if you want, I'll write it based on what you've written me and send it to you. It depends on some people's language in writing English is not so great. So they'll
yeah, of
ask
course.
they'll ask me to write it and then they revise it however they want. It's got to be your story. But I would really appreciate it if you help me help other people. The way you do that is post book reviews. You already wrote a great book review, I noticed, and much appreciated. But the success story is even more important because we put them on Speech Anxiety. And have you been to Speech Anxiety Anonymous? Did you go there and look at those success
Yes,
stories?
yes.
And what did you think of those success stories?
I think that they're good and great. And Like, it's good that there is such a website or community where people who used to stutter can communicate, and like for somebody who is stuttering can really get some confidence and to really see that this is working.
Well, I really appreciate that, and I'll tell you, I hope I would say a couple of things. You say you should try, if you can, you should try to come to our speech club on Saturdays. Have you been getting invitations to the speech club?
Yes, I did.
And
And
you should
yeah,
come if you can, because um, look, those are your people. They're all like you. They're either ahead of you or behind you, but they're heading in the same direction. They're all like that, and it's the exact opposite of what you find on Facebook with all the negative stuff. Everyone's so
yes,
upset they're taking drugs and drinking alcohol and Lord knows
yeah,
what all.
that's crazy
I mean, it's
people.
ridiculous. And
Yeah,
here we are, this community. I know you're a member of Speech Anxiety Cures. We appreciate that. And even though I'm not an owner of it, I don't direct it, and they don't pay me either. They're the only organization in the world that's going to preserve my methods and help other people experience what you have and what I have by using those methods. So if you can stay in that community, if you would stay in it, we would really appreciate it. If you could say, well, I'm doing this because of that crazy old man who wrote that book, but I'm doing it because that book saved me and I want to help somebody else. If you can just look at it that way and stay with the program, and if you would come to the speech club, and frankly, when you're comfortable with it, after you've been there a few times, you can always reach me by email that fast, and shoot me an email and say, I'd be okay with giving a talk. It can be as little as 5 minutes. We prefer around 10 or 20, but 10 is fine. Five's okay too. Your speech journey, basically saying what you said today. Just, the only way you might change it is just describe more about what your struggle with it was like before you discovered my book. Let them understand the pain that you had,
yes,
and then say, and this is what happened. I went on Facebook and around, and I couldn't find anything except negativity, and then I went on Amazon and I found Lee's book, and it was great, and I beat it with the book. And then one day I said, listen, I'm going to call this man and just tell him at least that what the book meant to me, and I did. And he asked me to post a success story, and I did. And he asked me to give a talk at the speech club, and I'm doing that. Now I don't want you to talk there unless you're totally comfortable talking there, or basically comfortable. As my father used to say, I asked him. He was a great speaker. I said, are you nervous? Do you have butterflies before you speak? And he said, Lee, if you don't have butterflies before you talk, you won't be any good. So it's okay to have butterflies, but that doesn't mean you're panicked and you're going to stutter. It just means you've got butterflies, and they'll
yeah.
kind of go away as you speak.
I actually think that this is a problem because, like, when I have to talk in front of a lot of guys or people, I always feel that, let's say, internal, like a storm inside of me, and my heart is beating very fast. But I guess that this this was because of the stutter, and now I can feel like I don't have it like that much anymore.
You know what?
It's
You know what?
fading.
Think about this, Cristo. Think about this. What is a vaccine? It's a little bit of the disease. And when you take a little bit of the disease, you build an immunity to the disease. When you go to the speech club is everybody appears in a little box, this big. You're this big and I'm this big and everyone's like that. And so you first of all you go to the speech club and you don't say anything. You just attend and sit there. Maybe I'll say hello to you. You can nod your head or say hi, and that's the end of it. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to. You can write a chat and say, I'd like to ask this question or I have this comment. You can do it that way. But you come a few times, and then after a while, you raise your hand and you say, well, and you thank the speaker for his talk and maybe ask him a question. And then you shut up and listen some more. And you keep coming until when? Until you say, you're talking a fair amount after a number of times. Maybe you've been 10 times and you feel pretty comfortable saying a few words. So then you say, I can talk for 5 minutes. I could tell my story. And you could rehearse your story with me if you wanted to. I'd practice with you on it. I practice with a lot of people on job interviews and business presentations. I had one Chinese guy. He was an investment. He presented business packages to investors. He practiced about 20 of his presentations on me. So I'm happy to do that. But so look, you've stopped your basic core stuttering and you should post a success story now. But you should also continue with this program. You should continue reading
Yes,
aloud,
of course.
continue your mental daily regimen for life. Look, I don't address myself on speech anymore. I don't have one affirmation dealing with speech. I haven't for decades. I don't need them. I address boredom and depression and anger and anxiety and insomnia and every negative thought I have. That's what I
I agree.
address. And so I'm still doing that. But look, when you come to the speech club, it is a primer. It's an appetizer. It's a training program for public speaking. It's not really public speaking. You're not with a podium and a mic and a bright light and a big audience. That's not it. You're a little box on a screen with a bunch of people who are just like you. They're on the same conveyor belt you're on. They
Yes.
understand you, man, and they welcome you and they want to help you. And you want to help them. And it's your community. It's the only one in the world of ex-stutterers and people fast becoming ex-stutterers like you. So,
I actually like that, to be honest. And I signed for Toastmasters,
good.
but unfortunately, now the meetings are like over because of the corona,
Sure, sure.
and there are no physical meetings.
But
But as soon,
you've got speech anxiety masters every Saturday. You can come to that.
yes, of course, I
It's a
can.
training ground for Toastmasters. It's a training ground. And
Yes,
it's your people. Not only is it good for speaking, Cristo, it's also good for asking questions to people who have a different slant on the program than you do. No two people see the program the same way.
yes, of course.
So
There
you,
are different types of people and of stutterers. For me, like when I read the book, I read about very severe stutterers who
yes,
cannot say anything, who block. But to be honest, I mean, I had some blocks before that I easily fixed with just change of thought or
yeah,
synonym. That is very easy for me now. But basically, I mean, I have never been a blocker. What I was like, I was repeating words or repeating the first letter of a word.
yeah.
And
And now you know
yeah,
8 ways that you can stop every one of those first 8 crutches. They
yeah,
work. They work on
for
that.
me, for me, crutch 13 is the thing that really fixes me, so to
Perfect.
speak. Or I'm also trying to speak a little bit slower
Good. That's 11.
because
Crutch 11.
I always, I mean, I always thought that fluent speakers they speak very fast, but actually it's not true.
No.
So yeah, I'm trying to speak a little bit slower and not think about any words. At
Good.
first, I thought that not thinking about words would produce a very strange speech in terms of talking about some nonsense. But actually, we need to trust our brain to do the job, because basically this is what the fluent are doing. Nobody's talking, I mean, nobody's thinking about their whole sentence or words. I mean, you can, in my opinion, think about a few words, for example, 3 words out of 4 sentences, just to form your idea, and that's it. This is my understanding.
Listen, I'm going to get another call in 2 minutes. A couple of quick things. Will you write a success story for yourself, or will you let me write something? It doesn't matter if it's this long or this long. It doesn't matter. It's the story that counts. I mean, you got to tell the truth, obviously, and I would never want you to say anything that wasn't true. But do you want to write a draft and email it to me, or do you want me to write a draft and email it to you? Which do you want?
I can write it. I
Okay.
just want to make sure that you also think that I don't have a disability anymore. I mean, how do I sound to you?
Look, don't worry about your English or don't worry about any of that. Just put down the facts. How bad was your stuttering? That's number one. Number two, how did you beat it? What did you do? And that's the rest of the story. And where are you now? Those three things. How bad was it? How did you beat it? And where are you? And what are you going to do now? And and what do you recommend to other stutterers? But look, if you'll write me anything, I don't care whether it's this long or this long. It doesn't matter. Length is irrelevant. Just write that and email it to me. Um, that would really be great. And look, I'm gonna have you. Did you say you have been getting invitations to the speech club? Yes, right.
Yes, I
Okay,
have. Yeah.
so I'm going to urge you to start coming. Really make an effort to come because look, you're let's say you've accomplished goal number one, stopping stuttering, but you're not loving to speak in all venues, so you haven't accomplished goal number two, and you need to accomplish that. And the way to get there, the easiest way to get there is to come to that speech club and just sit there and then say a few words after a while and say a few more. It's like the vaccine. You keep the more you expose yourself, the less the fear goes away. When you're a little child, almost everything frightens you. But when you like riding a bicycle or swimming or whatever, but once you did just this much of it and you didn't suffer, then you thought it was great and you did it. And this same thing with speaking. It's the same deal. And the speech club is the perfect place for you to go. They're all your friends. They can all help you. You can help them. Go. So send me your success story. Email that to me. And as to speaking again, I mean, on any presentations in your job, do you need to make presentations?
Actually, no,
Okay,
not so often.
okay. Well then,
But I do speak a lot because we have meetings, so it is important to speak. I mean,
yes, I would say, in addition to what you're doing, um, you might also find it helpful um, if you would. You said several times you try um, and not to think words, and that's a wonderful objective. Except the way to get there is not to think I won't think words. It's to think I will think something else. I will
yes, of
speak I will
course. Yeah,
speak my urge. If I have an urge, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I want to help you, I want you to help me. Whatever the urge is, my brain does all the work. All my job is the urge. My brain supplies all the words. I supply
I'm
none.
doing exactly that.
So
I'm
if,
thinking about ideas or my, I don't know, feelings
But if you
or
think if you think of an urge and then you think I'm going to speak this urge with extreme pronunciation, that will you won't think about any of the words. You'll think about
yes,
pronunciation, or you think I'm going to say this so enthusiastically, or some people simply by thinking I'm going to smile the entire time I speak. With some people, the act of smiling eliminates most of the problem. If you can believe that, there are people who'll
yeah,
swear to that.
of course.
So you can still improve. And look, your goal now is not only not to stutter, it's to make speaking fun. You're going to make it fun. You're going to smile. You're going to be enthusiastic. You're going to pronounce. You're going to speak softly and slowly and with enthusiasm. All these elements
Yes.
you can
I
mix in there in your stew.
I said that I'm like using only three of the crutches, but I think that using for extreme pause or extreme pronunciation or change your voice register is good for public speaking or to make your presentation or speech more interesting. At
Exactly.
least, yeah. So I may not use them to like produce a better speech, but I should learn to use them just so I can make my speech more interesting.
One other question. How many affirmations do you now use?
Then,
Perfect. Okay. If you
but
if
to
you
be
send
honest,
which ones are you using the ones from my book or have you rewritten them?
I have like I love to speak is the first one, but the rest I'm using some of yours, but the half of them are my own,
Okay.
and they are addressed to stop thinking about words, to love to speak, to be around people. Um,
Look, there are a few basic rules about affirmations, and I may, we don't really want to put them in the negative. We want to put them in the
yeah,
positive.
exactly.
We
I
want to
know that.
keep them in the present tense. And look, you should always begin with every day in every way. My speech grows better and better. And when you no longer need it for speech, every day in every way, I grow better and better. That's Emile Coué's it's the
Yes,
most famous line probably in all of psychology. That line.
yes. I
Use
never
that as
start
number one. And number 10, always end with today I'll make a happy day. Always end with that. Always end with that.
exactly. I never start with a negative thing. For
Okay.
example, I
Good.
don't.
Good. Good.
But I think that I have made a huge improvement over the like 1 month and a half.
It's fabulous. I'm thrilled to death. And so you'll send me you'll send me now. Sometimes people tell me they'll send me a success story and they never do. You know,
I don't mind. I don't
I
mind.
really would
I
appreciate. Just think about you're doing it half for yourself and you're doing it half for other people who are suffering out there. Think of it that way. You know,
yes,
I don't want you to say anything that isn't true, for heaven's sakes.
but should I wait a little longer until
Well, that's
I'm
up to you. That's up to you. If I guess the question is, when was the last the you don't wait until you've overcome fear because that could take years. I don't think it will, but it could. And so what? You're not going to stutter while you're doing it. But I don't. You can't wait for fear to go away. The test is when did you have your last bad incident? When did you appear speech disabled to us in the eyes of a stranger, not to someone who, like your mother, who's heard you stutter. She would view anything you tripped up as a stutter. I mean, someone who didn't know you. They're standing there, and or whenever you spoke in a way that if a stranger had been there, and if the stranger, in your opinion, would have said, clearly, this guy has a speech problem, that's a bad incident. When was your last one that you can remember?
I think that when I started to read aloud, like 3 days after that, I really stopped
So it's
having
it's
any
been
kind
six
of bad
weeks. It's been
incidents.
6 weeks.
Yeah, we can say that.
Okay, well then the answer is yes. You should post a success story now. I've had people who've relapsed, not many, and we took their story down, and they then recovered, and we put it back up. But Oh,
But
I
how
want to say out of over 100, I've had less than 5 of those. Less than 5.
can you relapse if you understand the
I don't
reason?
think you can, and I haven't, and most people don't. I said like out of we posted like 130 of these things. I think I've had about 5 relapses out of 130. So it's less than it's 3% or something. And
Yeah.
when they relapsed, some of them are the very best speakers ever. Now, one of them was Prathusha Ravi, who's one of our coaches. She's an Indian girl, very pretty Indian girl, and she relapsed a couple of times quickly, and she cured it. I mean, she emailed me immediately, and we talked about it, and she was over it in like a couple of days. And she speaks perfectly. She's the poster girl for speech, you know. And it's been 4 years. She posted a success story. She was one of the first. She was the second success story after mine on that whole list. So she's our people don't relapse. Basically, they don't.
But I think it's not even possible. Like when you understand that the reason is because you think of words,
Yes,
you cannot stutter. I mean, this is logic. It's
exactly.
logical.
It is
So,
logic. Totally.
so basically, I don't think that, of course, if you stop reading aloud, if you stop the auto suggestions, of course, the old habit might return. But if you do it for at least 6 months, I think that the new habit can really take over and
Exactly.
it just, yeah,
That's what you're doing. You're creating a new habit and you are unlearning an old habit.
yes,
If you don't feed that old habit with bad incidents, it's dying every day. It's weaker every day.
I agree.
And you're doing that. So you're I think yes, you should post it now and but you should start coming to the speech club immediately. Whether you talk or not, it's up to you. Talk when you're comfortable. If we usually come a little bit early, 15 minutes early, some people do, and we just chew the fat, talk about the weather or COVID-19 or whatever,
Yes,
anything. So come a little early if you want, and just if you can just be an observer, whatever, and write what you want to say or say what you want to say. I don't think you have any problem. And I think, look, it's like swimming or riding a bike. The first time you rode it, you fell over. And when you realize if you keep pedaling, you're not going to fall over. And this
yes,
is where you are in speech right now. You're realizing that as long as you keep pedaling, you're not going to fall over. And coming to the
yes,
speech club, this helps you keep pedaling. It's practice. And you'll learn from other people, their angles, and you'll find it very interesting what they have to say.
yes. It's also a good way to meet some new people, I think. So I
I
think
have
it's good.
friends all over the world. I have hundreds of friends with speech problems, or used to have them. Hundreds of them. I can go almost anywhere. If I went to your country, I could send you an email and say, hey, I'm at the so and so hotel. You want to have coffee or something? And people will come. I've met a number of my people. I had one guy fly from China twice to New York to meet me. The first time I couldn't go, and the second time I did go, and he had a picture taken of the two of us and he put it on Facebook. But he flew from Shanghai to meet me. He was the worst stutterer, worst, terrible, and made gross faces and couldn't get a job, couldn't get a girlfriend, whatever. His whole life's changed. He's got a great job. He has a girlfriend. He's 30 something years old now. He hadn't stuttered in 4 years now. And he's like the third or he's like about the fifth or sixth success story on there. His name is Zenhua Johnson. He put his last name on a story. He wanted to, son. And so there you have it. And so,
All right.
it's great. It's just great. It's just great. But
So
join
I can
us.
just join tomorrow
Yes,
and yeah,
exactly. Just come at 15 minutes of or whenever you want. I mean, people come early and go late or come
yes,
late and go earlier. It doesn't matter. It just, it's there for you to enjoy. That's it.
yes. I can also share my thoughts
You can.
about my way to beat it. So
Yes, they would love to hear your thoughts because yours will be unique. Everyone's are unique.
yes, I agree. For me, to be honest, it was more like to realize the reason of stutter than to use some crutches to fix my speech. So as soon as I realized that not thinking about words is my cure, I just stopped stuttering. I don't know if this makes sense,
Of course it
but
makes sense. Of
I
course it
mean,
makes sense.
I'm very logical person,
Yes, you
and
are.
now I really understand the reason. So yeah, I think that in time I will eventually forget how
You
to
will.
stutter.
You will.
Yeah, it
I've
just takes.
forgotten it. I've forgotten it. Every once I've hadn't had a fear in 40 years, but I do have a threat once in a while. But it's a joke because I know the crutches by heart. I just hold up one hand and there's no stutter could ever affect me. I can talk to the whole world, all 7 billion people right now on a mic, on a screen as big as an auditorium. I don't care. Wouldn't matter to me. I love to speak. I drink my own Kool-Aid. And you can too. And you soon will.
Yes, that is my plan.
Yes. Well, listen, it's been wonderful meeting you, and I will Skype with you anytime you want. Just send me an email, but please do send me the success story because if you don't, I'll be emailing you and going, "Come on, guy, I'm going to come with my broom and chase you around. I got to get that success story out of you because we
I
need it
just
for
want
other
to
people."
wait. Yeah, I just want to wait like 1 or 2 months more, and I will do it.
Oh no, 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 no! You don't need to wait 2 more months. Come on, the test isn't 3 or 4 months. It's one. Nobody who stutters can go a month without a bad incident unless they know the crutches well enough. You're using fear as the guide, and that could be more than 1 month, 2 months. It could be a year or 2 years. You could still have some fears. The more you come to the speech club, the sooner the fears will go away. The sooner you post your success story, the sooner the fears will go away. Your reluctance to post a story now, you meet the test. This test isn't for you. It's the test that we use for everybody. All those people, when they've been a month. Now, I've had people who strung me out 6, 8, 9 months, but it was unnecessary. It's totally unnecessary. And it slowed down their own progress. Don't, you
All right.
haven't had a bad incident. Say it.
Yes, I haven't had a bad incident. So, do you?
and and you're helping other people as well as yourself. Remember that.
Yes.
I'm helping people by telling my story over and over and over.
All right. So, I mean, I just wanted to make sure with
I
this
know.
Skype that you also don't think that I am I have a stutter. So basically, yeah. I
I
mean,
hear nothing. There's no way that anyone sitting behind me here would have listening to you would have thought you ever stutter in your life. No
all
one
right.
would ever think that. No way.
That's good
You sound
because I
great.
can also see a huge improvement, and I'm just amazed about like I feel also a little bit stupid because the answer is so simple, and I have wasted so many years
You're not
on.
stupid. Look, you're not stupid.
No, I'm not. But the
Let me
answer,
tell you something. I got any number of people who are medical doctors. I must have 10 medical doctors. They're not stupid. I have any number of PhDs. I've got a bunch of lawyers. I myself practiced law for 30 years. I started a lot of businesses successfully in my life. I'm not stupid either. And you're not stupid.
of course, we're not. But the the solution was so simple that you feel a little bit stupid, not like not getting it. a little bit earlier.
See, more
So
people like you need to say it and need to be heard saying it because, it's like the medical community and the speech lab pathologists of the world still say stuttering is an incurable disease, and anyone who claims to the contrary is a liar and a charlatan and a thief and blah, 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 blah. And that's what I've been called. I didn't even know they had that view. When I wrote my book, the first edition, and published in early 2016, this was published in 2019. When I did the first edition, I had no idea the stuttering community didn't think you could beat it. I didn't know. I just wrote my story the way it was. And then the second edition, after I talked to a bunch of you guys and girls, then I updated, I added 100 and some pages. And then I talked for another 2 years and I added another 250 pages. So I got almost 600 pages now. I could keep adding to this book as long as I live. But you're right, it is simple. And some of the biggest problems in the world have the simplest answers. And
yes,
that's what's stunning. I mean, but the medical community is against us. And they don't change. They're not quick to change. And you have to have what they call peer-based research, and you got to have people in in educational institutions presiding over your study. And the problem with the medical community and the speech therapist is not that they don't mean well, it's that they never stuttered. 90% of them never stuttered, and 10% of them still do.
they
How can they solve the problem?
they don't understand the core issue.
No, they don't
But
get it. What you just said is so profound. It's so earth-shaking. It's so simple and it's so true. They can't accept it. What you just said.
yes,
And it's the
but they
core.
also don't want to be without a job.
Well,
It's
that's
like
true. And we don't have a job. See, we do this for nothing. I do this for nothing. I've given
I know.
away more of my books than I've sold. And SAC charges a little bit, but geez, the average therapy program starts at $2,000. Their whole program is $200. $10 a month. You know, they're doing a
I have
great job.
actually attended some therapies, but only when I was a kid, like 7 years old or 9 years old. And basically, now I am remembering that at that time, the therapist made me read aloud in front of him, but it wasn't reading with passion. And that was the problem, I think, because now I don't just read aloud. I'm trying to really use passion. And also, when I was a kid, the therapist told me, like, there are a lot of exercises when you read. For example, the word, uh, for example, words starting with A or C, that kind of stuff. But anyway, I just wanted to share like what have been my therapies. But the thing is that they didn't really did anything because I mean the solution to stop is not to just read aloud, maybe for some is, but also to not think about words or
Yeah.
sentences, just to think about your ideas or that kind of stuff.
There's a famous guy in the stuttering world named John Harrison, who he's an older guy now. He's not really active anymore, but he wrote a long book on the subject, and he and I share in common the view that stuttering is a mental problem, and
Yeah,
that's the
it
only
is.
place it's going to be solved. And he says that stuttering is the wrong word. He said they shouldn't call it stuttering. He said they should rename it holding back. And if you will think about when you speak, you won't hold back. You let
Yeah.
go. Let your urges out. Your brain will do all the work. So
Yes, I
just
totally
don't
agree.
hold back. Let it
And
go.
don't think about words. That's
And if you
basically the
don't
thing.
hold back, if you speak immediately, speak as you think, not after you think.
Yes. This is the way I'm doing it now, and I can see a huge improvement. I mean, as you can hear, I don't stutter.
No, you don't.
Yes. So basically, and also one more thing that I would like to share is that when you read aloud, you also said that in the book, but when you read aloud, you don't stutter, not because you're home alone, but because when you read, there's no time for fear to kick in. And that's the main reason. So, yeah,
Exactly. And you can't read aloud too much. I read aloud to this day, not because I need to for my speech, because I enjoy reading aloud. And I read aloud to my grandchildren or anyone who will listen to me. My
yes,
students, I love that. We read to each other. We have wonderful times reading to each other. And it's wonderful. So you're absolutely right about that as well. So, okay, so look, you don't need to wait another month or two, okay? To send me something, okay? Okay?
okay, yes,
I'm coming after you. I'm coming after you. Come
all right.
on. Yeah.
If you also think that I don't have any kind of disabilities anymore, then
No,
I don't mind posting a success story.
you're working
Of
on goal number
course,
2, loving to speak. That's your next goal. You got to love it. You got to
yes,
look forward to it every opportunity, no matter who the audience is, how big it is, how small it is, how important it is. It's all irrelevant. Your speech is not impacted by the audience. It's
yes,
impacted only by your thoughts, and you're in control of your thoughts, and you're proving that every day.
exactly.
So, thank you for this, for hooking up with me. I'm really grateful you did. And I'll look
Yeah.
for your email
More,
with your success story. And if you want to Skype at any time, just email me. Um, and I hope you will come to the speech club. And if you want to practice a talk to there, listen. If you'll come a few times, I'll email you and ask you when you would consider, in a month or two or whatever, talking to the club. For 5 minutes, it's not a big deal.
yes,
It's not an earth-shaking thing. And
I agree.
okay,
Yes,
wonderful. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Cristo.
yes.
And
It was also a pleasure.
congratulations on your progress and your success. And I can't wait to induct you into Speech Anxiety Anonymous Speech Hall of Fame. And we send you a certificate that looks like a college diploma with your name on it. So you can post that wherever you want and say, I'm a member of a very elite club, and it is that. It's an elite club.
All right.
We got some good speakers in there, too. All
All
right.
right.
Well, I'm here when you want me, and I'll look for your email. And
Yes.
it's
And
again
tomorrow I will join. I promise.
wonderful, wonderful.
All right,
Okay,
Nick.
okay. So
Thank
I'll
you.
I'll talk to you. I'll see you on Saturday. See you tomorrow.
Yes, thank you, and have a nice day.
You too.